What about my love? Wasn't it enough? Just let me know so I can hold.
Top 5 corners, man.
Am I starting?
I think Don started.
Ooh.
Let's see. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yes.
Wait, hold up. I think we're gonna have very similar lists if this is
Okay. Well, at number 1, yes, I'm finally to the point where I will call him Sauce.
I love it.
I was waiting.
Hey, he just
and
had to prove
like-
it.
Don was like,
had to prove
he
it.
has to earn that nickname.
Yes.
I love
I
it.
wasn't
20
trying his sauce at Buffalo Wild Wings either until he was proved it wrong.
Wait, he has the sauce at Beat Ups?
The sauce.
Oh, I gotta try this now next time I go to Buffalo Wild Wings.
In 2023, he was the only cornerback to start at least 14 games and receive fewer than 60 targets. He only saw 55 targets in his coverage area last year as quarterbacks avoided the 2-time first-team All-Pro. He's broken up 31 pass attempts through 2 seasons in the NFL, allowing just 2 touchdowns. Definitely my number 1.
Don, why are you taking my notes? For sauce? Why?
Hey, I picked out some good ones from a couple places and some of my own, and that's it.
I'm just saying, if you take my notes for Pat P, we got issues.
Well, Patrick Surtain, not quite the dominant 2023 as 2022 was, but Denver's defense was a disaster in the early part of the season, and his coverage numbers dipped during the stretch. Still, typically as consistent as any corner in the league. He was mentioned in trade rumors in the offseason, but he was way too valuable for Peyton to give up. I think he's rebounding strong in 2024 if the rest of defensive team for Denver decides to show up. Jalen Ramsey. In 2023, he tore his meniscus in training camp, but returned in week 8, mainly looking the same. He allowed just 53.8% completion rate and a 51.1 passer rating after coming back from knee surgery. He has a superior blend of coverage and run defensive skills, makes him an excellent corner safety when the time comes, and it will come, but a potential change is still a few years away.
All Florida State fans remember how dominated he was as a safety as well.
Yep. It's coming.
It is. It's going to be scary.
At number 4, I got Jalen Johnson here. He was kind of flashing on and off his first couple years, but last year he kind of put it all together.
Did.
I mean, he had some great stats, set career best completion rate 55.2, yards per target only 4.8, yards per completion 8.7. He was a former second rounder. He only allowed 195 yards and a 33.3 passer rating as the nearest defender in coverage.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those things set the pace for the league. And the Bears were very wise in franchising and extending Johnson in the offseason, signing him to a 4-year deal, $76 million.
Man, why did the Bears have to be smart?
5.
Well, it was a battle.
Yeah.
It was
It was
for
a
that.
battle. He was pretty quiet about it until the very end. And as soon as he started to be a little rah-rah,
They're like,
"Nah."
okay, we don't need this. We don't
Yeah.
need this. Here you go. Here's the blank check.
You remember the video? Did you ever see the video of the dude that's about to bungee off the bridge and he's sitting in the chair and he's telling the guy, he's like, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
No, just screaming. No.
That's what the Bears did. That's what the Bears did. They said, "Let me tell you something." And then
Let me tell you something.
paid
I'll give you a blank check, please, please, please.
Yeah.
Number 5, I went back and forth with a few different names here, and I finally landed on L'Jarius Sneed. I like the fact that he's more versatile in the corner position. Spent most of his time in the slot early in his career, and then played in 2023 just about every snap on the perimeter. That transition took well as he didn't allow a receiving touchdown in his coverage until Buffalo Bills scored on him in the divisional round. Not sure how the change of scenery is going to be going from the Chiefs to the Titans, but for now, I have him at number 5.
I'll both say, well, I saw him firsthand in person. That man was locked down. He underrated as hell.
I like this list, Don. I really can't say too many things bad about it. I think it just depends on how you evaluate corners.
Correct.
Corners was the hardest one to do for me.
It is.
But I did want to give a shout out to somebody that wasn't on any of our list, and I think he deserves all the praise in the world. And he only played 11 games for the stats that he put up. Is a beast in the tackling world and had five interceptions. That's Derek Stingley Jr.
Yeah,
That dude can ever stay healthy.
That was a reason.
He only played 11 games and was a beast.
I'm excited to see what he can do this year.
I was absolutely blown away when I seen that, and I told everybody. I said, "Remember, Don? I said that dude's gonna be generational if he can stay healthy."
Yep.
Man, his potential is crazy. But Hayden, give us your list.
Okay. At number 1, I got PS2, Patrick Surtain. Patrick Surtain had 1 interception this past year. And for those who do evaluate that, I don't put that highly on my list because the main job of a NFL cornerback is to shut down a receiver. I view more interceptions I look more at safeties than I do corners. And overall, though, he had only one game where he allowed 65 yards and above. And that was versus the Miami Dolphins when going against Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And that's a receiving core that not many corners can stop, not even in the NFL today. A very, very hard receiving core to shut down.
Another one that's going to move to safety later on in his career, too.
Yep, I agree.
I said that since day one.
Yep.
Exactly. And with Patrick Surtain, too, he faces guys in the AFC. He faced Keenan Allen this year. He faced Devontae Adams, like 2 good receivers. Keenan Allen, a very underrated receiver, in my opinion. Not top 5, but still a very good receiver. I think going to Chicago and being the number 2 is going to be the best thing for him now in his career. But still, Keenan Allen did have a good year, and he still faced a top 5 receiver in Devontae Adams and held him when he was on him under 50 yards. And then going on number 2, as Don says, Sauce. He finally earned the nickname for Don. I've been high on him since last year, but I move him up from, I believe I had him at 5 last year. He jumped up to number 2 for me. Last year, he had a 88.6 PFF ranking and had 1 game above 65 yards. And like Don mentioned, only allowed 2 total touchdowns in his entire career.
Yep.
Have absolutely made fan bases hate him because how good he is and his ability to lock down your number 1, one of the best coverage corners in the NFL. For those who do not know, if you see my list, it's not the flashy interception guys. It's the who I trust to lock down your number 1. Because for me personally, I view locking down a receiver more important because at the end of the day, that's their main job. Shut down a receiver. If the ball comes to you and you catch it, we take it. If not, and you force an incompletion, that's a win for me personally. And then at number 3, I got Jair. Now, Jair last year was number 1 on my list. He dropped down to number 3 because of injuries, really. And when he is healthy, he is the best corner. His ability to lock down your number 1 any given week, we saw it a couple years ago now versus Justin Jefferson when the last time he faced him. And might I add, Justin Jefferson is a very good receiver, one of the best when he's fully healthy as well. He have shut down other top receivers as well in the past. Whenever Tyreek Hill and Jalen Water were on him a couple years ago versus the Dolphins, they struggled. And then when they weren't on Jair, they had their flashes. If you go back and watch that Dolphins game versus Green Bay like a couple years ago, you'll see they had their strengths when they weren't on Jair's side. I said Water, didn't I?
Who the hell is Jalen Water? He's out here covering non-existent receivers. No wonder he's at number 3 for you.
Oh my goodness, no. And the one thing with Jair that's my biggest issue is what happened this past year in Carolina with the whole locker room. And ever since that, he has shaped out and actually took it serious. And it showed in the playoff game versus San Francisco. Whenever he was on Ayuk or Debo, whoever he was on, they really had struggles versus him. And then, of course, the whole game versus CeeDee Lamb, all I got to just say for that Dallas game, look at the interception he had versus CeeDee Lamb. That's how CeeDee Lamb struggled versus Jair. Now at number 4, I have Jalen Ramsey. When everyone is praying on this man's downfall, and I mean praying, he has been nothing but lights out. Allowed 0 games where a receiver had 65 yards or above on him. 0. And he only allowed 1 single touchdown. A fresh scenery and a very, very underrated Miami defense was the biggest bright spot in that Miami secondary. At the age he's playing, he might not go to safety if he keeps playing like this, Dante.
No, that's his second life, man. We're looking at
Charles
Woodson Jr., bro. Like, he's too damn big not to play safety.
He is.
His build is going to slow him down just like Pat Surtain. He's not going to be able to keep up with the best of them until he gets to that age where he feels like he's slowing down.
He's going to be a top 5
are going to
corner.
be as good safeties as they were corners. I'm telling you right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then at number 4, I got Jalen Johnson. For those
Number
who
5?
say, number 5, thank you. Like Don mentioned, up and down career, like showed flashes, but also had very bad games. Showed flashes after bad game. This year, he put it all together. He had the highest rated PFF grade, was the biggest and probably the only bright spot in that Bears cornerback room last year. Had defensive 31.0 passer rating when targeted for quarterbacks. That's a very, very great thing to have in a cornerback. He is a definition of lockdown right there. And it's crazy. And might I add a ridiculous 0.37 yards per cover snap. Receivers weren't averaging a yard on him. That is crazy. And that's the definition of lockdown when you can get in a cornerback.
Yeah, Jalen Johnson is definitely that guy, man. He earned all his stripes last year. So let's just get over to my list. Trent McDuffie is my number 1.
I knew he would show up. I knew it.
I mean, to be honest, outside of Pat Surtain and Jalen Ramsey's tackling ability in the run game, he was the best tackling corner in the league. You saw it a lot in the Super Bowl too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, dude. Huh?
Hold up. I thought good corners don't come from Washington, though.
Apparently, they still don't. But apparently he's a slot corner too and can't play the outside either.
But what do you know?
Anyways, when you talk about Trent McDuffie, you got to notice 2-time Super Bowl champion, All-Pro, 2-time Pro Bowler. The stats line up, just like I said about George Karlaftis too. Same thing. 2-time Super Bowl champion. But outside of all the accolades, outside of that, the dude can match up with the best of them. I mean, toe for toe, he's that guy. Sauce Gardner, again, only giving up 2 touchdowns in his career?
Mm-hmm.
2?
That's what a lot of good corners have as their best year, might I add.
It couldn't have been. Actually, to put on my Twitter post, I probably should have put him in players that I was wrong about, to be
Yeah.
honest.
I was waiting for it. I was like, I'm gonna
But the reason why I didn't is just because of the school that he played at. I didn't say that he was gonna suck. I just said he had the highest bust potential in the draft because of that. I don't know. Maybe you
don't
can
doubt
label that
Luke
as me
Fickell's
being-
players, man. Don't
Maybe you
doubt.
could say that I was wrong about that, but I honestly think that at the end of the day, you know, we got to see what Mr. Rodriguez does with New England this year, because that's the one that I felt highly about. But Sauce Gardner has all the tools, has a great frame, physical enough, can play zone, can play man. I don't know, man. I would love to see them play better competition other than the Miami Dolphins at this point. That's it. I gotta see what he looks like against the Chiefs of the world, and you know, the 49ers and the Seahawks, people and the Eagles, people that have got two good wide receivers at any given time.
He did play the
So-
Eagles, I think, two years ago, Don. Correct me if I'm wrong. He did
Yeah.
play you guys? Yeah.
Yeah. Jalen Johnson has earned his stripes. I don't care what anybody says. In a division that he plays in, and the weather that he plays in, and from him being the Ohio State guy where people were saying no good corners come out of Ohio State either, and they haven't had the best of history, he's the one that broke the mold, to be honest with you. Jalen Johnson is probably on this list a guy that I don't even think we've seen his full potential yet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just put it like that. I think he still has a lot of uncapped potential. A guy that we've seen a full display of his potential, and that people still have a hard time figuring him out, is Pat Surtain. Picking up exactly where his dad left off in the league and then some. Dude was created out of a lab, and I feel the same way about Jalen Ramsey too. We've beat this over the head enough. These two guys are Pro Bowl safeties in the later half of their career. They almost, I said this before too, Pat Surtain reminds me of Jalen Ramsey as much as Jalen Ramsey reminds me of Pat Surtain. I think if they were on the same team together, it would be nuts. I mean,
Yeah.
what would you do?
Nothing.
I think both of
You
them
run the
together.
ball.
Let's put it like this: if I had to form two cornerbacks to go against Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, if I needed two guys to stop them, it's these two.
I'm about to say,
give me both of these guys. So
I'll do Jalen Ramsey. He goes against them in practice, so he's going to know their weaknesses.
I'm just saying, even if it was in an alternate universe, who am I picking? Two speedy guys to go against two physical guys.
Exactly. They're going to struggle.
That first jab on the line is going to screw them all up.
That's one thing a lot of people don't realize. They think to fight speed with speed, you need speed, but no, physicality will win.
Yeah, you throw them off their first step, it's hard to get the motor going. I don't know.
Mhm.
Have you ever been in a car before?
I have experienced firsthand man versus pole. Pole wins every time.
The old NASCAR rule is if somebody's in front of you, you try to get them to slow down. What do, Don? Hit them on that back fender.
You
Tell
got
me
it.
how fast they're going to be after that.
Yep.
So Sora's list is Trent McDuffie, Sauce Gardner, Jalen Ramsey, Travarius Ward, and
Whoa.
Pat Surtain. Put some respect on Travarius Ward.
Yeah.
Again, this was the hardest list. There's so many good corners in the league.
I don't hate anyone's list. with
Russell Douglas had a really good year.
this. Why did we have to trade him?
Who else had a really good year? Darius Williams, and for Jacksonville had a pretty, he had a pretty good year as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not trying to be a homer, but I had to, call a ball, a strike a strike. There was one more that I wanted to call out. He was on my list. Oh, Byron Murphy for the Vikings had a very, very good year. And it kept getting better as the years it went on. And Stephon Gilmore, I mean, underrated kind of year.
Yeah.
Wasn't asked to do a lot, but he was actually very decent for the Cowboys.
Where's is he still at Dallas? I
He's a
haven't
free agent.
free agent still.
Yep. The ECG list was Sauce at number 1, Pat Surtain at number 2, Trick McDuffie because he got some votes first round, number 1 vote for me, and then Sora put him on the list, so he ended up being number 3.
He would have
Jalen
been.
Ramsey and Jalen Johnson. I love our list, man. The ECG roll-up lists are the best. I'd match these against anybody's.
I'm just saying, is there time I can make a switch for the safeties list next week now that we got it? Because
you had this whole time to think about it.
I'm still going back and forth.
Nah.
I am.
No. You're going to have to keep on to that card, sir.
Hey, I'll hold it, but I just want to say, you better put an asterisk there because I did try.
Nah,
I acknowledged him.
We didn't do it this week, so I'll switch it for you. So,
okay.
Sora, you got time to think about it too, sir. Paulson Adebo from New Orleans is sneaky good. Doesn't get much love. Yeah, because of who's on the opposite side of him. That always gets the love, even though he plays pretty dirty, in my opinion. No wonder him and Mike Evans fight all the time. But it's neither here nor there.